Hi everyone, this is Becca from Becca's Music Room. I'm here today to talk about accountable talk in the music room, specifically dealing with one of my TBT products. As per usual, if you enjoy this video, please like, subscribe, and share so that it can help other teachers out with using accountable talk and differentiation in their classrooms. So I learned about accountable talk during my gifted class. I'm taking a gifted certification course and we went through all these different strategies for how to teach with using differentiated instruction and things like that. And this was one of the things that kept popping up was accountable talk, and people kept talking about it, and I was like, what makes them accountable? And people were like, oh, well, because they're supposed to talk about something. I'm like, but yes, but how do I know that they're talking about what they're supposed to talk about? So accountable talk basically means that students get with partners or groups and they talk about something specific that you give them. So maybe you give them a question and you give them maybe 60 seconds to talk about it. They really don't need much more than that because otherwise they'll start talking about other things. And then somehow you try to hold them accountable. Usually this is questioning by the teacher, but I like to make some things that are written every once in a while. So I made these music listening accountable talk worksheets so students can talk to their partner and then write down their ideas. This helps me because I can see, all the ideas of the class, and it also helps me have things to grade and make sure that every student gets their voice heard. The whole point of accountable talk is kind of to quell some of the chit chat and also make it so that all of the students get to answer a question instead of just one or two that you call on. It also helps when you have students who maybe don't like to talk in front of the classroom but have good things to say, because they might be more inclined to talk to one person than to talk in front of everybody. It helps keep students engaged because they're doing things, and it's just really great all around. So I made these templates that I'm using in my classroom. We do a lot of listening work in my classroom to classical music, but also to different things. Actually, the first thing I'm using this for is for some Zydeco music, which is all sorts of fun. So I made 6 different templates, and then there's one that's blank. I'm just gonna go through them really quickly so you can see a couple of ideas of different questions you can ask. These work with any song that there is. And of course you can make your own, you can ask any questions you want. You can do it without using any kind of sheets at all. You don't have to have the kids write stuff down. You can just have them talk to each other, and you could call on them or just have them talk to each other. There's lots of different ways you can do this, but this is just how I'm doing mine, so I wanted you to see what it is. Now, my little sheets start from the easiest, so like things I would use maybe with first graders, and they get a little bit harder for each one. So my first one is just a box, and it literally just says, what does this song make you think of? So all you would have to do is talk with your partner about what the song makes you think of, write or draw your response. I made them all boxes so the kids can draw, because sometimes writing is a huge issue for students in my school. So I didn't want that to prevent them from answering the questions. The questions are, what instruments do you hear? Would you call the song piano or forte? So they do need to know some music vocabulary, but of course if your kids didn't know that, you could tell them what it is. And what does this song make you think of? Because y'all, that is like my favorite question ever. I love that. I love listening things and hearing what the kids think of when you show them a new song, maybe something they've never heard of before, and they come up with like the most interesting ideas, and I just really love that. The next one is, what instrument families do you hear? So this would be maybe 3rd grade or up. What mood does the piece have? Is it happy, sad, serious, silly, mad, all those kind of things? And what would the contour, and it does say in parentheses highs and lows, look like if you tried to draw it? That's one of my favorite things to do, is have the kids just take a pencil or a crayon, and while they listen, they go up when the music goes up and down when the music goes down. And it's just really fun and really simple and really easy. And some songs, really loud, and then they get really soft, or they might be up and down, so it makes them think a little bit more. The next one is, what instruments do you hear? What music words would you use to describe the music, like forte, piano, high, low, adagio, allegro, etc.? What else did you notice about the music? So that's where students could say anything. They could say what it reminds them of. They could say, oh, I think this might be part of a ballet. They could say, whatever. This one is all about instrument families because I am going to start instrument families very, very soon. So I wanted to have something ready for that. So the first one's just what instrument families do you hear, and then what woodwind instruments do you hear, what brass, what string, what percussion instruments. Of course, I just wrote all 4 of the answers on here, partially because my kids can never spell them, but even since the first one is first, they probably wondered. This one's a little more fun and it requires more extra thinking. So it does start with what instrument families do you hear, but then it says, why do you think the composer picked these instruments? How would the piece sound different if the composer picked different instruments like ukuleles or bagpipes or guitars? So that I was thinking would work really well with like a classical piece, and just ask them what it would sound like if they had a totally different one. Now the last one is just 3 blank ones. So you can either edit the PDF and insert a text box. I don't know how to do that, or I would give you more information, but I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. Or you could just write on here what you want to do, or you could just write on the board the questions that you want the kids to answer, and they can just write them in there. So I like to leave an empty thing for pretty much anything I make to help you out, just so that if you want to add something that I forgot, you can always do that. Now, like I said, accountable talk is literally just the kids talking to each other. So you could do this with papers, you could do it with drawings, you could do it with just calling on a few students, but it really is a powerful tool to keep students engaged and really help them use those higher order thinking. You could also differentiate this easily by giving 2 different groups, like 2 different papers, so they have different things that they're listening for. So you could have the higher students thinking more higher level questions than some of the other ones. There's lots of different things you can do. These are just a few things that I'm doing in my classroom in the next couple months, so I hope that helps. If you found this interesting or helpful at all, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share so that you can help some of the other teachers out, and have a wonderful week.